Everybody, and welcome to our Facebook Live. It is Monday, December 16th, and I'm so glad you're with me today because we are talking about flipping the script. And I had done a reel about this a couple weeks ago. And I will tell you, this is one of my soapbox things I feel passionate about. So we're going to dig deep into how you can take what you're saying negatively to your child and say it positively, and why that's so important. But before we get started, please jump in here in the comments section. Tell me hello. Tell me where you're from. And announcements as usual. First thing is next Monday there will not be a Facebook Live. And I think last week I announced it. I said there won't be a Facebook Live on December 23rd. And then I also said something like in December 15th. So I don't know where that came from. But there will not be one on December 23rd as I'm spending time with family for the holidays. So I wish you all a happy holiday season. All right, and the other announcement is the project I'm working on is officially rolling out in 30 days. And I am so excited about this, and I've been working very hard on this. And if you're a parent who feels like you could use some extra help, you need some encouragement, you need some guidance, you need parenting help, information, a course, a class, whatever, this is something you're definitely going to be interested in. This is special and it's really close to my heart. And my goal for what I do all the time with parents is to help parents become better parents and to speak respectfully and kindly to their children. Now, you all know I'm about common sense, all about common sense. I'm about speaking positively to children and guiding their behavior in a positive manner. And for those of you who are new on here and never had any interaction with me, I spent 40 years in the childcare industry, and 20 of that was going into childcare classrooms and observing to get them ready for state assessments. And one of the things that I documented when I was sitting in a classroom, sometimes for 3 to 4 hours, was language. And I documented what the teacher was saying, how she was saying it. Now, let me just say something here, because today we're talking about words. But when you're talking to your children, when you're disciplining them, when you're managing their behavior, there's words, right? That's one aspect of it. Hey, everybody coming in. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Muhammad. Okay. When you are speaking to them, it's not just the word you're using, but it's your tone of voice. It's your body language. And we got into this a little bit last week. But all of that is communication. And I want you to stop and think back maybe to a time when you were young. Maybe your parents didn't raise you or manage your behavior in a positive way. Maybe you remember something they said to you that to this day was hurtful that you remember. Maybe it was a teacher or a friend or a neighbor or a relative that said something negative to you that for some reason stuck in your head, right? We all have that. We all can remember something. And it's just words, right? It's just words, but it's the power behind those words that is important. And as a parent, you have power with your words with your children. And I'm assuming, like me, you want your children to grow up to be happy, positive people that are loved and feel safe and secure. And part of that is how you manage their behavior and how you speak to them while you're doing it, okay? So for those of you who are on right now, if you want to, you can, it's up to you, because I've got a whole lot of papers in front of me, but you can put in a statement maybe that you say negative to your child, and there's no judgment here, please. And then we can talk about how you can reframe that and say it in a positive manner. Now, one of the things I used to do with the teachers, when I had done my 3 and 4 hour observation, and we sat down, we did a report back to them, and we'd go over it with them. And when it came to the language, I would say to them, how can you say this, what I heard negatively, in a positive way? How could you change it? Because when you're speaking positively to your children, you're telling them what you want them to do. You're praising them for their positive behavior. I call it directional behavior. You're directing them. For instance, this is an example of directional. Your child's jumping on the couch. And instead of you going, are you out of your mind? Get off my couch. You can say, your feet belong on the floor. Show me how you're doing it right now. Show me how you can put them on the floor. That's directional. So you turned that positive. You didn't say, what the heck are you doing? Get off my couch, which is negative sounding. You said, you need to put your feet on the floor. That's directional. That's what I'm talking about. And if you're not used to doing this, it can take some time to learn how to flip that, because your first instinct is to go to the negative, because guess what? That's easier. That's much easier to do than to have to stop and think about how you want to phrase something positively. Okay, a few more people have jumped in here. So hi, Courtney. Hi, Marion. Hi, Lulu. So glad you guys are here with me. So we're going to get into this. Now, I can tell you, I used to hear, I would say, make my hair curl, right? My hair straighten. I'd hear a teacher saying things, or even, okay, I am so adamant about this that when I go into a store, I'm just tuned in and I hear parents speaking to their children. And when I hear the negative things parent is saying to a child, it just breaks my heart for that little child, because they're the child and their parent is choosing to say negative, hurtful things to them. Now, is it because maybe that's how the parent was raised and that's what they know? I don't know. Is it because they're so frustrated and they're just letting loose? Could be. We've all been there. It could be they just don't know how to do it differently. So we're going to talk about that today, because I'm going to teach you how to do it differently. Okay, let's get started with simple things that you may say to your children. Okay? Now, I wrote an ebook on this called What to Say Instead. I had it up on my site for a while. It's not up there any longer. But I'm going to pull some notes from that, because these are just common phrases that you might hear yourself saying. And let me back up for a second. Here's what happens a lot as parents. You kind of focus on the negative. So your children are playing and everything's fine and you say nothing. But then say you have two children playing and one smacks the other. And they start fussing. And guess what? Now they have your attention, because now you have to deal with the negative interaction, right? You have to manage that behavior. Now watch this. Say your children are playing nicely together and you're walking past on your way to the kitchen and you take a second and you go, wow, look how nice you guys are playing together. It's awesome. Simple as that. You don't have to overanalyze it. You don't have to spew a ton of words. You don't have to throw a parade for them. You just make a comment as you're walking past. What happens is, I call it catching them being good, although children are not good or bad. Their behavior can be challenging sometimes. But when you start doing that, you're going to notice less of the negative behaviors, because you're giving attention when they're being positive. They want more of that. So then they're going to try to do more positive behaviors, because that's the attention that you're going to give them. Now, not that you ignore the negative, like when they're hitting you, obviously have to deal with that, but in a positive way, right? In a positive way. But you will see a change in your children's behavior if you start doing that. Now, I'm very aware of that with my grandchildren. So say my 7-year-old and 5-year-old grandchildren are in the car with me, and one says to the other, can you help me open this package? And the other person does. And I'll say, wow, so kind of you to help your brother like that. Okay, simple. You follow me here? This is not hard. None of this is hard. It's all common sense. It's all practical parenting. Okay. All right, let's get into this. Hello, for the rest of you came in. And you know what, Christy? That's okay. That's all right. Thank you for your honesty. I think a lot of parents are the same way. Christy said she's super guilty of this. And I think a lot of parents are. And it just becomes part of who, how they manage behaviors. And then here's what happens. By the end of the day, you are so tired and stressed and exhausted because you've been managing the negative all day long. But if we flip that script and we get you saying things in a positive way and giving your children attention when they're behaving positively, and then managing the behavior that's inappropriate in a positive way, you're not going to feel stressed at the end of the day, and your children are going to respond differently with their behaviors. I promise you, it definitely will change their behaviors. All right, so let's go here and listen. If you want to, for those of you who just came in, if you want to put in say a negative statement you have said to your children or you've heard somebody say to their children, put it in here and we'll talk about how we can flip that and reframe it in a positive way. So let's start with simple ones. So don't run. How many times have we said that? Don't run. Don't run in the house. Okay. Now watch. You've told them don't run. Okay. The do not, there's the negative. Do not, that's the negative. Do not run in the house. But you haven't told them what you want them to do. So here's where the directional part comes in, the positive part. Instead of saying don't run in the house, you say we walk inside. If you'd like to run, you may go outside. You see the big difference in that? And don't run in the house. Because normally when you're saying that, you're going, stop running in the house, right? But it's going, you know what? Inside we walk. You're welcome to run outside. There's the directional part. Because if you say don't run in the house, and they stop running, but then they start jumping, because you haven't told them what to do, and they start jumping, then you're like, didn't I just tell you not to? You're like, well, you told me not to run. Because here's what you need to remember. Children, especially young children, are very literal. So you have to tell them exactly and specifically what you expect every single time. And here's what happens. They take you literally, and you think they're misbehaving because they're literal, because you said don't run. You didn't say don't jump. And then you're like, what? You follow me here? Okay. Christy, I totally understand. Your child has special needs, definitely be challenging. I used to work with children with differing abilities. I have family members with differing abilities. I totally get it. So this is for neurotypical and neurodivergent children. Now, it depends on the severity of the neurodivergence. Some of this might work. Some you may have to tweak. But, and I can understand the frustration. Totally, I get it. I promise you I get this. Look, I was not a perfect parent. No, I was positive. I disciplined my children in a positive way. I never spanked. I never yelled. Well, maybe once in a while. A great while. But was I a perfect parent? No, they don't exist. Were there days when I was losing my mind? Absolutely. Which is why at 66 years old and having raised 4 kids and been parenting for 45 years and worked in childcare for 40 years, I can sit here and give you suggestions of what may work. Now, does everything work for everybody? No. But I'm offering up my experience and my knowledge and my wisdom, and take it or leave it, but this is stuff that has worked. Okay. Margot, thank you. You love my advice? Thank you. I love giving it. I've never had a problem talking. Okay, so let's say, let's go to the next one real quick. All right, so saying stop hitting. Ugh, how many times have we heard that? Stop hitting. How many times have I told you stop hitting your brother? Keep your hand. Okay, stop hitting. Here we go again. But what do you want them to do? So there's lots of things you can say. Hands are for helping. We keep our hands to ourselves. You need to keep your hands in control. Hitting hurts. Okay? So tell them what you expect. Tell them how it feels. Hitting hurts. You need to keep your hands to yourself, please. And here's the thing. And I just did a reel. I shared this reel a dad had written actually the other day. It's like when your children are losing control and then you are yelling or raising your voice or losing control to try to control their behavior, that makes no sense. You're modeling exactly what you're telling them not to do. Okay? Which is, I'm going to go up on my little soapbox here, my side note for a second, which is why I'm so opposed to spanking. You're telling a child, we don't hit, but you're spanking them because they hit. It's not common sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. So, your job as a parent is to remain as calm as you can. Take a breath if you have to. Focus on how you can say things positively and use those. And when you start doing that over and over and over again, I'm telling you, your children are going to start to follow you and listen because you're saying what I want you to do. When you're saying stop doing something, that's the Band-Aid. You're just putting a Band-Aid on it, right? But when you say, here's what I want you to do, you're healing that. Does that make sense? It's a weird analogy, but you get it? One's just covering it up for now. The other is showing them the right way to go. And I call healing it that way. Okay, let's go to the next one. So saying stop hitting, we use our words. You use your words. Instead of using your hands, I need you to use your words to tell me. Because keep in mind, all behavior is communication. So when a child is hitting, they're hitting for a reason. They're frustrated. We know toddlers hit because they're nonverbal for the most part and they're frustrated, and that's their communication. But Then you say, you know what? I understand you're frustrated, but you need to use your words. Or can you show me? With a toddler, they aren't necessarily going to be able to use their words, but can you show me? And they might be able to point out to you what's going on. Okay? What's your problem? Oh, when I would hear teachers saying this to a child, okay, there are some things to me that are like chalkboard, fingernails on the chalkboard. This is one of them. When the kids are crying, you should go, what are you crying about? What's your problem? Well, they're not crying for the fun of it. Surely there's an issue. Now you have to be the detective here and figure out what it is. So you can say something like, oh, I see you're upset. Do you want to talk about it? Do you need a hug right now? Sometimes they just need to calm down for a minute, right? I can remember my daughter, my youngest is 3 years old. I'll never forget this. Now she's 24. So this was a long time ago. And just one afternoon, she was like off the charts, just irritable and cranky and talking back. And this was not her normal behavior. And my husband and I are going, what is going on? And I finally said, she's just tired. I think she's just tired. She was crying and nothing we could do or say to her was calming her down. I'm sure you've all been there as parents, right? And so I said, you know what? Hang on a minute. I just hugged her. And I just held her to me. And I held her and I said, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And next thing you know, she was like, out. That's what it was. So all behavior is communication. You have to figure out what it is. So in this case, I see you're upset. Oh, you seem frustrated. Is there anything I can do to help you? That's it. Simple. See, none of this is hard. Okay. Stop yelling. Here's what parents are yelling at the child to say, stop yelling. That cracks me up. Teachers will do that all the time. Stop yelling. I can't hear myself speaking here. And I'm like, but you just yelled at the children. Oh my gosh, some of this is funny. Okay. Use your inside voice, please. Can you speak to me calmly? And I would do this. My daughter would cry on the way home in the car. And I had I think I talked about this before in a Facebook Live, and she'd be crying. And I'd say, when you can use your words that I can understand, then I can help you. And I wouldn't say another word till she calmed down and could use her words. I'd say, are you ready now? Because when you're ready, I can help you. But when you're crying, I can't understand that. Okay? See, none of this is negative. This is just stating fact. And it is wording it in a positive way. And it's giving them direction. Okay. Get off that table. Okay. Here's what I used to hear teachers doing. Why are you climbing on those shelves? Well, because they're children and they do that, right? Get down. How about this? Your feet belong on the floor. Your feet belong on the floor. Please show me how you put them on the floor. Calm, directional, simple. Now for all of these, remember I'm all about consistency, follow through. So you don't just say it and walk away. You make sure the child gets down and puts their feet on the floor. I'll never forget, there was a child that was on a rocking chair. I think it was a 2-year-old room. I think it was. And stood up in the rocking chair and was rocking back and forth, standing up, rocking. And I'm observing. And the teacher's in the bathroom with the child, with the door shut, changing the child, which is a whole nother issue and a licensing violation, by the way. And I said, I just looked at her when she came out, and I just looked at her like this because, I'm not supposed to interact too much. And I just looked at her, and she's like, get down from there. What do you think you're doing? Instead of saying, your feet belong on the floor. Show me how you put them on the floor. Ta-da. Simple. Okay. Stop ripping up that book. You have children that tear books up? Books are for reading. We show respect to our books. Would you like me to read that book with you? Could you read that book to me? It's time for you to find something else to play with. None of it's negative. It's telling me exactly what you expect. Are y'all following me on this? Put yes in the comments if you're following me on this. I want to make sure that I'm getting the point across, that you're understanding what I'm saying. And if you have any questions about what I'm saying, please. Okay? Okay. Marion, we're going to jump in here on this one, Marion. Marion says, continues to call mom, no matter how many times I respond. Okay. So are you responding multiple times, Marion, or is it just... Because here's what I would do. If my child's going, mom, I would look at them and say, can I help you with something? And then if they kept that up, I would totally ignore them. I would not respond anymore. because they're just playing around at this point. They're just trying to get your attention, and that's a negative way to get your attention. So you could say, even if you just call my name one time, I'm willing to help you. Okay, good. Okay, Miriam, yes. Okay, so ignore it. It's like the tantruming. You don't play into that. You ignore that, because when you respond now, that's attention for negative behavior. And so now they've learned, if they want to get your attention, even though it's negative, that he or she just has to go, mom, 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 and you're going to go, what? Because we've all been there. How many times are you going to call my name? One time I just said, my name's not Mom. And they were like, I had fun with it. My name's not Mom. I don't know who you're talking to. Anyway, okay. Quit being a tattletale. Quit being a tattletale. Your kids tattle on each other. You can say, it's my job to worry about everybody. It's your job to worry about you. That's it. Okay? Send them away. Just don't play into that either, because if you start playing into that, they learn, oh, if I tattle on my sibling, that they're getting positively reinforced by tattling on a sibling, and sometimes they feel like so happy that their sibling's now in trouble. So you just don't play into that. You just like, you know what, my job's to worry about you. Like, I'll handle it. You go play. That's it. Okay. Stop acting up. Stop acting up. Quit acting like that. You can say, I know you can do better. I know you can do better. Show me how you can do better. That's all. Show me. Or what can you do differently? Show me how you can do something differently. Okay? You know what? I believe in you. I know you can act much better than that. So you see, you're praising them. You're telling what you expect, praising them. And Dawn, okay, this is funny. I used to, where did it go? It went away. You say you're changing your name and you're not telling them what it is. I love that. That's great. That's funny, actually. Change your name. Yeah, there you go. Dawn said, I used to tell my kids I'm going to change my name and I'm not telling you what it is. That's funny. Sometimes you just have to laugh to keep from crying. I mean, honestly, if you are a parent, if you are a mom or a dad, and you have not cried a time or two in your life out of sheer frustration and overwhelm, you're not human. You're not human. I'm just telling you right now, you're not human. That's just part of being a parent. There are days when you are like, there's nothing else to do but cry, because you've tried everything, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, and you're just crying. Sometimes you need to do it, and it's okay. It's okay. Okay, get your finger out of your nose. I used to hear teachers telling kids this all the time, and you may have told your children that. You say things like, I see you need to get a tissue. They're over there on the shelf, or whatever it is. Okay? Simple. Like, be gentle with your nose. Do you need a tissue? Just redirect them. And so a lot of this is redirection too. Okay, Adrian, you hopped in. How about if they refuse to accept your answer? So give me an example on that if you can, so I can get really specific on this. And then we'll take it from there. Okay, give me an example. Go wash your hands right now. Time to wash your hands. This is simple. Time to wash your hands. Right? We're getting ready to eat. Let's get the germs off. Time to wash your hands. Time for a hand washing break. Simple, simple, simple. Okay, boy, this time is going fast. Okay, sit down. Sit down. Okay? Can you please put your bottom in the chair? Show me how you can sit nicely. Ta-da! Sit down. I appreciate when you sit calmly. Be quiet. Ooh, okay. So here's the thing. In my household growing up and with my children, we did not say shut up. That is something that just gets, no, I don't like shut up. And so I would never say to my kids, shut up. That to me is like so offensive for some reason. I don't know why, but I wasn't raised that way. I didn't raise my children that way. You can say, be quiet, please. You need to lower your voice, please. Put your listening ears on. One person talks at a time. You need to listen. I'm speaking. It's your turn to listen. There's so many ways you can see that. We're inside. Please lower your voice. Okay, all nice ways to say what you want to say. Okay, Adrian said exactly. Okay, how do they exactly? And they say no and just refuse to do it. What do you do? Okay, Adrian, I'm going to need another example. I'm sorry. I need to know what it is you asked them to do. Just give me an example. They said no. They refused to do it. That's where you've come in with consequences. But kind of give me an example. We'll go from there. Okay. Oh, this one. When I would hear teachers saying to a child, you are so bad. Oh. Let me tell you, I'm a very calm person. I'm a very loving, kind, gentle person. But when you start saying things to children that are hurtful like that, I just am not a happy camper. Okay? No child is bad. Their behavior may be inappropriate. It may be challenging, but they are not bad. And you have to understand, your words have power. It's like seeds. You know, you plant seeds in the garden and they grow. Well, if you plant those negative seeds in your children's mind, they believe you because you are their parent or your grandparent or whomever. They believe you because you're the adult. You must know better, right? And that's not always the case. But they don't know better. They're children. They believe that you're the person who has their best interests at heart. And if you're saying those things to them, it must be true. Okay? So, say things like, everyone makes mistakes. You can try again next time. Here we go again. Something I can do to help you. I'm here to help you make better choices. Make the right choice. Right? You can even say to them, like, here's what you need to do. This or this. Make the right choice. Put it back on them. Okay? But, you know, we all have moments when we're frustrated or overwhelmed. Let's talk about it. Okay? I was able to hear the be quiet one. I'm bad at saying this. Okay. All right. We did the don't run. Okay. And I've got some more because there were some other things that I think parents say. Don't touch that. You're going to break it. Keep your hands to yourself, please. That's fragile. I'll tell you, when I have grandchildren here, I put my stuff up when they were younger. I just put it up. I'm not going to stress out over, no, don't touch it, don't touch it. I just put it up. That's just common sense. Put it up. When they get older, they know how to manage it. If they pick up something now that maybe I was, concerned that they might drop, I'd say, you need to put that back on the table, please, where it's safe. Okay? Directional. Tell them what to do. You're being so lazy. Go clean your room. You can say, once your room is clean, you'll feel much better about it. Now, sometimes with younger kids, that's overwhelming, especially if you've let it go and the room is a total mess and now you're saying go clean your room and it's like, oh my gosh. So you can do that in small bites. You can say, I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. See how fast you can get your room cleaned up. At least they get a start on it. Okay, you can make a game out of it. You can set the timer. Timers are wonderful for a lot of things, but set the timer for it. And then you can say, okay, take a break. And then they can go back and finish. You're handling them cleaning their room in a positive way, and it's fun. Okay. All right, so here we go. Adrian, I'm going to go back to this question. They ask what's for dinner. You say chicken. They repeat what's for dinner 100 times. So you ignore them. Do not respond. Then you say come to the table. They refuse and keep repeating the question, what's for dinner? You know what I would do? I would sit down, start eating my dinner. I wouldn't say another word to them. You've told them what's for dinner. You told them. They repeat it. Don't answer them. Do not respond to them at all. Put earplugs in if you have to. Put headphones on and put music on. Do not engage in responding to that behavior. They're agitating on purpose. And then you say, come to the table. They refuse. Well, sit down and eat. You can say, I'm sitting down to eat dinner, and in 30 minutes, dinner's over. And if you've not come to the table and eaten by then, you'll eat tomorrow morning at breakfast. That's your choice. And then you sit down and eat your dinner. Do not engage in this. Do not respond to their questions anymore. And listen, it's going to be irritating as heck, and they're going to ramp it up, right? Because when you're trying to extinguish a behavior, a lot of times it increases and escalates before it decreases or stops altogether. But you've got to hang tough on this one. Do not respond. And the other thing you might do is you might decide to do a picture menu. So Monday's chicken, you put a picture of chicken up. When they ask you what's for dinner, you point to it the first time. That's it. Now they know it's up on the refrigerator. So now you've kind of counteracted their asking you because it's up on the refrigerator. You don't have to answer that question anymore. Does that help? Does it help you any? A lot of times when children are doing these negative behaviors, they're trying to get your attention. And when you play into it, you're getting exactly what they wanted you to do, which is frustrating you for whatever reason. Okay? So ignore it completely. It's hard. It's going to be hard. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you need to do that. Okay? We have what's 12:45, but I'm going to go to a few more of these. Okay? Why can't you ever listen to me? I keep telling you not listen to me. Okay? You can say, I need you to focus on my words so that we can solve this together. Okay? All right, Adrian, back to Adrian real quick. You're right. Your husband keeps engaging. He's creating more of that problem then. Okay? So you need to get on the same page. If you want to show him this, to let him know what I'm saying here, but he needs to be on the same page as you and stop engaging. These kids are intentionally agitating you. Okay? All right. You're going to fail if you don't try harder. How come your grades are like this? You can say something like, when you give your best effort, you can accomplish so much. Doesn't that feel better? I mean, imagine if you're at work and you have a great boss and you're working on a project and they praise you. And all along they're like, I love the work you're putting into this. I'm so excited about what our team's developing. You feel good. You want to do more of that. But if your boss comes in and goes, what are you doing? What's taking so long? I don't like the stuff you're doing. Did you not hear what I told you the first time? Now, how does that make you feel? Does that make you want to do more? No. It makes you want to start looking for another job. Going, this guy's an idiot. I can't believe I'm working for him being paid what I'm being paid. Okay? So how you phrase things can also affect relationships. All right? This is such a mess. You say, you know what? You need to tidy up right now. I can help you if you need some help, but we need to tidy up. Okay? All right, couple more. Why can't you act your age? Have you ever heard that before? Okay, you can say, let's work on making choices that show how responsible you are. Do you see the difference? Are you guys seeing the difference here? If you are, please just put yes in the comment section. I want to make sure that I'm getting this through because it's so, so important. It can make such a difference in your behavior and your children's behavior and your relationships. Okay. Last one, we'll do this. Hurry up. You're so slow. Like, hurry, hurry, hurry. Haven't we all done that? Racing out of the house because you're racing. Hurry up, you're so slow. You can say, let's see how quickly we can get this finished. Let's see how fast we can get to the car. So I do that with my grandkids all the time. Like, come on, time to go. And then I'm like, who can get to the car fastest? And they're out. Okay? You can make it fun. All right. So that's all we have time for today. And I know that was quick. I know I had to talk fast to get through some of that. I hope I got your questions. I'm going to go back up really quickly and make sure I've got them all answered. Hello. Oh boy, I love people from all over the world. New Mexico, Trinidad, Canada. I love this. I love it, love it, love it. Kenya. Oh, this is great. All right. So here's what I want you to focus on. I'm going to give you homework. I want you to try for this next week. If you are speaking negatively to your children, to try to reframe that and say things in a more positive manner. I also want you to notice when your children are behaving appropriately, focus in on commenting on that, but you have to be specific on this. Like, not just say, oh, good job. You say, I like how you held the door open for your brother. That was very kind. Okay, so things like that. Hello from West Virginia. Hello, West Virginia. Okay, so try things like that. And just see if you notice a difference in you, in your children, maybe in their behavior. Now, like I said, none of this is going to change overnight. This is a process, okay? Because if it's something you've been in the habit of doing, you have to retrain your brain and learn new skills, do things differently, okay? And the project I'm working on, I'll give you a little hint. Some of this kind of stuff is going to be included in that, but in much more detail. Anyway, all right. It's been good having you here today. I love this stuff. Remember, next week I will not be here on the 23rd, but I'll be back the following Monday. And until then, remember, hug and love your babies.